Hello there everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be reading this long hall of text about Spelunky, and I'll be sharing my thoughts on it as we go. So let's get started. Some of my thoughts about the game. I've been playing the game for 2 weeks now, and I wanted to just write some things down that I have been thinking about. First of all, since the majority of players will be stuck in the first area for a long time, I feel like the game lacks enough level feelings to make these repeated runs interesting. I agree with that. So a big part of Spelunky HD is the level feelings. If you play it, you'll notice that in the first area there's the spider levels with a bunch of spiders, there's the snake pit level with the guaranteed matic and the 2 rubies, and there's also stuff like the Kali altar and the idol, which is the same in 2. But the level feelings in 2 are a lot more subtle, and they aren't quite as in your face, which I think does make it a little bit more boring compared to the first one. But it has enough mechanics in the regular game to where most of the time you won't notice that. But I do think it was a weird choice. Yeah, this is all just some thoughts. But I feel like more level feelings would help to make things feel more varied, especially when, as a new player, you end up stuck in the same worlds for a long time. For dwellings, I would like the snake and spider level variations to return, and maybe a water variation that allows axolotls to spawn early in the run. For jungle, I think a water level feeling would be interesting. That would spawn pockets of water with piranhas, and would allow frogs to spawn in that level. That would be kinda neat. It would be like a little throwback to the jungle in HD. I have no ideas for other areas, or on how to make them more interesting, but I feel like there's not enough variations. Especially, or mostly, the early areas could use some. Some other thoughts I had are also about the new player experience. The dwellings feel super punishing. It's not that playing perfectly is hard, but that making a mistake is often super punishing. Big agree with this one in terms of like arrow traps hitting through enemies, which is one of the biggest changes from Spelunky HD to 2. Stuff like lizards and moles comboing you into tiki traps. Very punishing for new players, I find. Most notably horned lizards who often hit you multiple times. I would have suggested to make them stunned after performing the roll animation so that they can't stun lock you. Also, I believe that shops and NPC areas should have a ceiling of wood so that moles don't ruin my day when I am observing the prices of the wares for sale. I feel like that's kind of a classic Spelunky mechanic though, is having to deal with enemies alongside the shopkeepers. For instance, when you set off an arrow trap, and then it travels like 4 rooms and it hits the shopkeeper and he gets mad at you. That's kind of bullshit, but it's also kind of the game. That's just my thoughts. It has happened too often that I entered a shop when a mole would suddenly appear from the ceiling and damage me before I could react. You gotta look out for those dust clouds. Maybe make it so the Witch Doctor Voodop attack doesn't stun, since they can easily stun lock you, which isn't fun. I don't know how I feel about that. Witch Doctors are probably one of the strongest enemies, since there's no way to dodge if they hit you with their side attack, unless you knock them out before it connects. Which is a really... It's kind of a strange mechanic, but I think it's neat. Even though it is annoying. I don't think necessarily making it not stun is the way to fix that. Maybe just making it send you less far. But getting stun locked by Witch Doctors is probably like much less of an issue in normal game. But in CO it's very annoying. I also feel like whip range is too short in front. I might be biased, but that's how I feel. It could probably use a couple of pixels of tweaking. A lot of times people just won't front whip because the back whip is so much better, which is an interesting mechanic, but it also feels very awkward, especially with how little it deals with enemies that are above and to the right of you, like bats. That definitely frustrates newer players, I find. Regarding moles, I used to struggle with them at first, but now they aren't as much of an issue anymore. Why were you just complaining about them in shops? Oh well. Also, it would be a nice quality of life change if fragile objects would only break upon hitting the floor when you drop them by crouching. So activating traps is more consistent. I agree with that one. I think they should last a little bit longer. That really bugged me when I started out because like skulls would just break right before they'd hit the arrow trap, and then I'd drop down and I'd get hit by it. These are just some of my thoughts thus far after having played the game for a bit, and I am not saying this should be implemented or anything, it's just for discussion. I definitely think that more level feelings would make the game more fun casually. They might be more annoying from a speedrun perspective. But I do think there's a lot of good mods out there that implement different level generations that the author of this thread should probably check out, like John Lunke, for instance. And what else? I know there's a few different level gen mods. Right now I can only think of John Lunke. There's more though. I might put them in the description. Edit. I know that Spelunky HD has alternative level themes, and I think that would actually help with making things feel less monotonous if it was in Spelunky 2. So the problem with HD is that every time that you leave a level, the sound would cut off and it would like restart the track. So you'd hear the first 10 seconds like for speedrunning. Probably less of an issue casually. But I don't know. Is it like that much more work if they added 2 more themes per world? I don't know how hard it is to make music. I assume it's probably pretty hard. But I think like some slight variations could work if they wanted to keep it with the theme of songs continuing through levels. There already is some implementation of things like that. Like I think Quillback has drums. And there's a few other things, like when you're on 1 HP the music changes, which is cool. But I think particularly the dwelling theme I find annoys people the most. It would be nice if the eye blinked at once at the start. Oh my gosh, I've been saying this since HD. I've been saying this since HD, that would be so cool. It'd be nice if the eye blinked once at the start of the level if there's a black market so you don't actually accidentally miss it. I've been saying that for years. Would be a pretty nice quality of life change. But I wouldn't hold my breath. And it would be cool maybe if Lamasis were mounts. Although I haven't reached that far into the game yet. Oh. This might be a player that has only made it to Olmec. Or it might be a player that's only made it to like 2-4. But despite that, I do think feedback from people that have trouble with the game is just as important as feedback from speedrunners and like pro players, because you want your game to appeal to like the maximum amount of people. So like if you think about like Donkey's video, he couldn't get very far in, and he got pretty far in on HD. But yeah, Spelunky 2 is just so dense and there's so many enemies that I think kind of puts people off from giving it more attempts and giving it more of a shot. Yeah, I also thought for some reason that scorpions might have a higher spawn rate in the temple, but that doesn't seem to be the case. What does this mean? Why did you include this? That's a nothing of a sentence, sorry, but... Edit 3, I forgot to mention that if Magma Men disappeared after falling for more than 5 blocks, it would solve at least some of the issues of random deaths in Volcana, the other being the unpredictability of lava drops. I have no idea how to fix Volcana in terms of lava drills. Because I'm assuming if there was some way to say just lava can't spawn under the drill, shop can't spawn under the drill, altar can't spawn under the drill, it would have been implemented. But part of me thinks maybe Derek is that masochistic that it's on purpose. Totally agree with the level variation here. Yeah, me too. After playing the game for a fair amount of time, the game feels a bit formulaic, and some level variations outside of spooky or dark would be nice. Especially since they have the potential to offer way more different runs. Yeah, this is something that I see a lot, because when you think about the normal game, you've got Haunted Castle, the Worm, the Mothership, and in some ways the Mothership does continue to live on, but I feel like Spelunky 2 more than HD feels like a lot of the runs tend to be the same, especially because Temple, for speedruns, you have to spend so much time to go down there that most people will skip it. Which leaves just Volcana and Jungle as like costing the same amount of time. But speedruns probably don't matter in the context of public opinion. Way more different runs compared to the ones we have now. Also, I feel like spooky level chances should be increased, because throughout my hundreds of hours, I've only encountered spooky levels a dozen times. Big agree on this one. The drop rate in HD is something like 1 in 10 for Dead Eye Restless and Jungle. And I've probably only seen it like a dozen times. Same thing for the Tide Pool bunch of locked gates level. I would kill for some alternating themes because that's the main reason why I keep Q2 on mute. Yeah. Would be very nice. Couple thoughts. I agree with level feelings, and I agree the dwelling gets a little boring, but adding water to the jungle, and maybe by extension the dwelling, is actually specifically what Derek didn't want to do. With the varying paths, he said in an interview that he wanted one path to not have any liquids, so Jungle and Temple both don't have any, while Volcana and Tidepool does. That way you can avoid that mechanic if you want to, and it adds a little more variation in that sense. I also straight up don't agree with you on nerfing the enemies. Each enemy in Dwelling teaches you invaluable information on how to deal with situations you'll be facing in far harder areas. That is a very good point. The enemies are hard, but if the enemies got weaker, the players wouldn't be as experienced for the later enemies. So that's a good point. That's something I didn't mention. I'll give you a thumb up for that. For example, moles dropping from above behave like dropping fireballs in Volcana, or Jin assassins in Tidepool. I think that's Zhangxi's. Is Jin like something else? I don't know. I'll look that up later. Or frogs and maggots in Sunken City. The lizards rolling and stunning you are like countless future enemies, and specifically lizards rolling bodies into you gets used to being careful around dead bodies and enemies so that when Neo Babylon comes around you are cautious about the spark traps and all mites. Let's be real, every first time player died to a spark trap. I think every first player did not beat Neobab on the first try. I doubt anyone ever has done that. It's annoying for sure and potentially the hardest level in the game, but it's sort of like that for a reason. Restatement about spawning water. It would really stand out and it could help you prepare for dealing with water ahead of time. Well, it would only appear rarely. I don't think it would be a negative thing. Spiders could die. Sorry. Spiders could die. There's no period, no comma, just capital spiders could die. Spiders could die when they fall in water, and bats wouldn't be able to enter. Yeah, bats not entering water is a HT mechanic. I don't think spiders dying in water was a thing. It'd be interesting in a way we don't have yet in other levels. This person needs to start making some mods. Put your money where your mouth is. Same for jungle. A water level feeling could replace the vine with spikes below area with a vines with piranha infested wires below area. That does sound interesting. Monkeys wouldn't spawn and instead piranhas and frogs would spawn in these areas. I feel like this is almost thinking too low. Like, you could have, some new enemy instead of frogs. Just because Derek had, like, it's that whole thing with frogs being only in Sunken City, which I think is neat because of the whole blue frog OP thing, and then Derek moves them into the final area. It wouldn't change much, but make things more interesting. All these edits on just Bard. About the moles, I don't find them dropping from above normally, but when you are in a shop, it is really unfair. Oh my gosh, it's like... This is like when someone gets food poisoning from a place, and then they're like, I went there 10 times, and the 10th time I got food poisoning, so now I'm never going there again. Because that place is awful, and it gave me food poisoning, and I am never going. You know, it's like, it happened once. It's okay if you don't want to go there, but move on. When they suddenly drop from above, so I would just suggest to make the roofs of shop from wood, so that doesn't happen. No changes to moles required. I don't know why this is the hill you choose to die on, but yes. A huge wall of text, yes, my apologies. Wait, what? Okay, they made 3 edits to the OG post, and then they made this reply, and then they added an edit, and then they made a new comment instead of just making a second edit. Okay, I'm getting into semantics. A huge wall of text, yes, my apologies, but I like writing things like these and sharing them. And I like reading them. All feedback is good. Even if I think the feedback is bad, it might be good to someone else that has something to do with the game. Anyways, the more feedback, the better. I like reading this stuff and talking about it. Even if I completely disagree with you, I will still be entertained. Def agree on level variation. This person just said def twice in 2 sentences. Def agree the HD mines were way more fun and less punishing, as you put it. Lizards aren't so bad, and I kinda like how much shit they can fuck up when you find out what swear words are. Def bring back frogs to forest, also water levels, but they tried to do that in the FC? Friend code? Anyways, so it makes sense why they took it out of jungle. Also, Vlad's castle is so much better than Black Market once you no longer rely on weapons. Kind of a bummer that there becomes no reason to choose jungle. Based? Based Volcana Enjoyer. I think they were trying to fix how there was no reason to go to the hidden jungle castle in HD by making the new vampire castle way more beneficial. Yeah. Do you think the graphics are way better and the physics are really beautiful? Admire the smoke next time you see some. They do a great job. Also, lots of tiny little visual details that are quite impressive. I think HD's music was better overall though. Except 2's jungle music better than HD. So a lot of people think HD's music is better, and that's because they don't make it to Cosmic Ocean. Or Volcana. No, I do like both games' music, but come on, listen to this. This is the jam. 1 hour of Cosmic Ocean on loop. But HD does have some bangers. But the problem is, again, that they get cut off every level, which is annoying. Let's see, what are my final thoughts on this? So this person wants a bunch more level feelings, which I agree with. But I don't agree with exactly how to do it by just like adding water. I think it would have to have something new and interesting for each level area that depends on the level area. Is what, like, if I envision like a major update, like something like Derek is coming back, giving this his full attention, the whole team is thinking critically about what to add, it would be something more major than just adding water, if you know what I mean. It would be like mothership levels of interesting mechanics and stuff like that. If it gets added. Because the way, right, like the way level feelings are now is they're so forgettable. Like you don't notice them sometimes. So if they wanted to add like Spelunky HD's level feelings where like the whole game has changed, like the worm level, it's this whole new cool interesting thing. And in some ways there is some stuff like that, like the bees in the back layer and the mothership, like I've been saying. Temple also has some very interesting back layers, as does Jungle. Tide Pool is kind of meh. I don't know. What would be like the perfect... I feel like I want to add the worm back. Even though it kind of lives on in Sunken City, I feel like that would be the coolest thing to see in S2 again. There is the HD mod that does add that, or at least it's planning to. I'm not sure how far along in development it is. But as far as nerfing early enemies, I don't know about that. I gotta think about that some more, I think. And then what else do they say? Horned lizards are annoying, witch doctors are annoying. Whip range is too short. This almost feels more like a rant than feedback in some places. Kind of reminds me of as a kid when I would read a book and I wouldn't like the ending, so I would imagine an ending. And then I would be like, hey guys, what if at the end of Harry Potter he got a Ferrari? Would that be awesome? What if when Harry Potter flies around on a broom, he got like a bunch of Quiznos subs and he threw them at the spectators? I think that would be a fun book idea. Good ending. More music. More music would be nice. I don't know if it has to be like a big update, but I do think like if people heard that there was like new tracks for each area, I think it would revive the game a bit, at least for like a month or so. So yeah, I'm definitely for that idea. I just don't know how realistic it is. I'm kind of curious. So, because this idea, it's been floating around for a while. Obviously, parallel thought between me and the author of this thread, saying that the eye blinking once during the BM level would be nice. But I feel like maybe in Derek's mind that makes it too obvious. I know for a while I couldn't figure out what to do with the Ujat in the Volcana stage when I was just starting off. I was like, wait, can you only do the hard ending from the jungle? That's what I thought for like the first few days. Spelunky 2 secrets, I think, blow HDs out of the water. Although the eggplant quest is a lot easier in some ways and harder in others. Notably, the eggplant child getting stuck in tubes. I don't know why the eggplant child does that. Just get out of the tube. There's my rant. Get eggplant child out of the tube. Make that update. I forgot to mention Magma Men disappeared. It solved at least some of the issues. I don't think the fix is that easy. In terms of like lava drill and stuff. Most of the time, if you get hit from a Magma Man off screen, it's because you're standing still and not moving. That's another thing I see new players do. I saw another Reddit post where someone was jumping around Volcana, and then they like stop right in the middle of the level, like maybe to sip water or something, and then a spike ball hits them from off screen, and it bursts through a robot and hits them. And it's like, just pause and drink your water. You know? Here, I'll do it right now. It is still a bullshit death, but you really shouldn't be standing still in Spelunky. 1 or 2, honestly. Anyways, that's me being a jerk to this random Redditor for 26 minutes. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you think about my thoughts about this guy's thoughts about the game in the comments. That was confusing to say. And like, comment, subscribe. See ya. Bye. Have a good one.